Hello and welcome to this tutorial on how to write a chord sequence. In this tutorial we're going to be looking at how to write a basic chord sequence and then basically build it up from there. To start with, we've got the chord sequence that you will notice I used in my how to sidechain using MIDI tutorial, which is this one. To some of you starting out, this may look a bit complicated, but this is really simple. And I'll show you how to build up stuff like this. If you don't already know what this sounds like, from my previous video, it sounds like this. So, how did I create a chord sequence like that, I hear you ask? Well, first, normally when I try and create a chord sequence, I normally have a melody in my head. The melody that I had when I created that sounds like this. From here, what you need to do to start working on your chords is you need to work out what scale the pattern is. And to be able to do this, I normally use a site online that I found, which is this one. And normally, the way you go about finding the scale that your melody is in is you take these notes, G, and you plug them in here. E sharp, which is essentially E flat, C, and F sharp, which is G flat. So they're the notes for your melody. Next you have to put in the root note. The root note for our melody is the first note, which is G. So we put this in here. Click Find Scales, and it will tell you the scales that it's possible for it to be. The number in brackets is, if it's 0, it means it fits that scale perfectly. If it's got a 1, it means that the scale is 1 note out, and 2 notes out, 3 notes out, etc. So as we're writing in G, it's most likely to be G harmonic minor. And as some of you may have noticed, I've already sort of done this. So here's G harmonic minor. And what you can do is you can go to Google, go to images, and search up the notes in G harmonic minor. Alright, so my internet's playing up a little bit. So the way you start writing your chord sequence is if you take your first note, you need the root note, which is this first note. You need the fifth, which is, if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is D. And then you need to take these two notes and copy them up an octave. So you'll get that. And then you need to fill in the third, which in this case is 1, 2, 3, is B flat, which is also known as A sharp. So you'll get. Next, you need to do this with basically all the chords. So D sharp is E flat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is B flat. And then do that again. So copy these up an octave. And then find the third. So we're doing D sharp. Is 1, 2, 3. So that's a G. Next we have C. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is G. Copy these up an octave. And then find the third, which is E flat, so 1, 2, 3. And lastly, we've got F sharp. So a fifth from up from F sharp is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is C. Up an octave. And then to find the third is 1, 2, 3 is A. So now you should have something that sounds like this. Now to make it sound a little bit fuller, what you can do is take each of the lowest notes, the root notes of your chords, and copy them down one octave, and copy them down an octave again. And then what you'll have is something that sounds like this. From here, what you can do is you can start trying to exchange these chords for slightly more complex chords, which you can see here. These are like sort of different possible chords. You've got variants of your major chords. You've got variants of your minor chords. You've got dominant chords, which are kind of like variants on your major chords. You've got diminished chords, which are minor chords, except with a flattened fifth, which I'll go into in some theory videos. You've got augmented chords, which are essentially major chords with a sharpened fifth, and then you've got some suspended chords, which I'll also go into in some theory videos. So when it comes to substituting in different chords, you'll need to work out which chords in your sequence are major and which ones are minor, which is where this page here comes in handy. So you've got your G. If you basically go to Google and type in chords in and then the scale that you've got, which in our case is G harmonic minor, you'll get, well, this is the site I use here. So you can go to G harmonic minor. Take the first note of your chord, which is G, and it tells us it's a minor. The next chord is D sharp, which it tells us is a major. Our next is C, which it tells us is a minor. D sharp again is a major, as we know. And then lastly, we've got F sharp, which is a diminished chord. So yeah, when you go through substituting chords, you want to be substituting majors with these, and possibly these. You want to be substituting your minors with these, and like your diminished with these, or if you really fancy like going for it, you could just like try anything. But the suggestions I've given should work pretty well. However, you've got when you come to trying to use dominant chords, what you'll notice is instead of the three notes, for example, the root, the fifth, and the third, you'll have four notes. You'll have, in the case of dominant chords, you'll have a first, a third, a fifth, and a flattened seventh. And the way you go about programming these in, I'll just quickly draw out a chord in C. You've got your root note, you've got your fifth, and like we did before, we copy it up an octave. So that's our root note C. Our fifth is G, which we can see here. Our third is E. So if we put that in, oops. So that's now a major chord. Right, now we've got our seventh, or flat seventh rather, which we can then stick there. And then we have C dominant 7. And like we did before, we can then fill out the lower octaves. And then if you want to go even further and do ninths, it'll just add an extra note on top, which will be the ninth, which is D. You don't need to put a C in, you just need to copy another, you just need to put a D in there, and you'll get this. Again, if you want to go even further on top of that, you've got an 11th, and on top of the D, you'll put an F, which will sound like this. And lastly, if you want to go again further, you've got a 13th, which on top of the F, you'll have an A. So, all in all, your chord will sound like this. But that's more for you experimental chord composers out there. So yeah, that's basically how to go about building a basic chord sequence. If you've got any questions on this, post a comment in the comments box or send a message to my YouTube inbox. Thanks guys, and I hope to see you in the next video.